You drive a Lambo, like everyone's gonna be looking at you, right? This, even though it's bright red, it almost flies under the radar. You know, non-car people don't really look at it, or like they'll look at it and you can kind of see the confusion in their face, like, that's a Toyota? Like, you know, like I've had people come up, like non-car people, like, is this the new Supra? And I'm like, no, this is actually from 1995, you know? This is a 1995 Toyota Supra Turbo. I mean, it kind of sounds corny, but I feel like I was one of those people born with like oil instead of blood. As far as I can remember, I was kind of obsessed with not just cars, but like all things kind of mechanical. And my father was into cars, so that did, you know, help bring that to fruition. Growing up, like we never really had any like super cool cars, but for some reason I was always just drawn to them. You know, I was always playing with Hot Wheels, like drawing pictures of cars, you know, watching like Acceleracers. I don't know if you guys know that, but when I was little, my parents took me to see the premiere of the Fast and Furious movie. They said that the Supra was there from the movie and I got to sit in it, so that's probably, you know, the underlying thing that drew me to this car. So my first car was a 2002 Subaru WRX. I think I did what every teenager does, is go straight to eBay and type in, you know, WRX and see what parts fit and then start ordering stuff. So, you know, that's where I started. I was always like trying to modify it and, you know, change up little things here and there to make it my own. Other brands, you know, the initial quality is always there. You know, the testament to these cars is that you see them on the road still. And, you know, this one has 207,000 miles right now. So, you know, still runs strong, no problems, starts up every time. My dad and I were looking for a project car. I was always drawn to the JDM cars, my first car being a Subaru. You know, this was probably a couple years search for this car. I'm not one of those people that, you know, decides they want a car and just, you know, picks the first one they see or like the cheapest one or whatever. You know, I like to do my research. I look across all different, you know, sale websites, Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, but this one came across it on eBay actually. It was a seller out of Long Beach. It was actually a no reserve auction. I bid on it, ended up winning. I wanted to go check it out in person first though, so I went over to Long Beach. Guy was very nice. You know, I could tell it was taken care of. The mileage scared a lot of people because it was at 204 at that point. I was going in expecting a Supra with 204,000 miles on it. Once I saw it, I would be like, this thing, you know, you wouldn't even think it has 50. I've driven a lot of cars, you know, old Euro, new muscles, some old muscle stuff, and it does feel like a 90s car, but that being said, it is very advanced for a 90s car. It doesn't feel like you're driving something that's 20 years old, but you do get those like sounds and noises that you don't get in the newer cars. You know, it's more of an experience. Like these newer cars where you feel, you know, cocooned from the outside world. They try to make it so you don't hear their road noise or the engine and stuff like that. With this, you can hear the engine working, the exhaust. That being said, the interior, you know, it is 90s. There isn't any screens anywhere, but to me that's a benefit because it makes it timeless. There are definitely cars that, you know, handle and drive better than this. That being said, you could tell it was very driver focused when they were designing the vehicle. It's very focused on the driver. Like you said, everything's pointing towards the driver. So yeah, it does give it a different experience than other cars just because you do feel like you're the pilot of the vehicle. You get all those inputs that you don't from newer cars, you know, feeling the transmission go into gear, the engine, you can hear the turbo spooling, you get the blow off valve noise. This isn't the fastest Supra in the world, not even close, but it does feel special, you know, like I said, from other cars. This was actually an automatic car originally. One of the previous owners swapped it to a manual. It's a 5-speed with the upgraded Mullen crawler kit in it. I mean, honestly, the car as you see it now is pretty give or take how I bought it. When I bought it, it did have the stock wheels on it, so that was the first thing I did. I changed the wheels out. I changed out the seats. It had the stock seats in it. Steering wheel, I changed that out to a personnel one with the red stitching to match the seats. And then other than that, just keeping it clean, maintaining it, you know, doing servicing and all that stuff on it. So I always prefer drivability over, you know, oh, my car makes this much horsepower. You know, it's kind of like a flex. Like, you know, as I learned from my Subaru days and modifying both of my WRX and my STI, built motors, whatnot, a car that drives is a lot more fun than a car that is broken. It is what we call a Bpu setup in the Supra world. Essentially just means full bolt-ons. So intake, front mount, blow-off valve, full turbo back exhaust, and a blitz boost controller. You know, I like a driver's car. I don't want to be scared of my car when I'm driving it, you know, so it's a good power level. You know, these had the sequential turbo system. So there's one small and one large turbo. So lower RPM, the smaller turbo is making boost. And then around in between 3,000 to 4,000 RPM, that's when the bigger turbo comes in. So there is a little, you can actually feel the dip in power when you're driving it between. You know, once that bigger turbo comes on around 4,000, yeah, that's what I would say. That's why a lot of guys go single. Just the turbo technology now is so much better than it was in the 90s. That being said, I do think that is part of the personality of the car. It does handle pretty well. These cars do handle better than, you know, some of the regular 90s cars. You know, when the original test came out, they said it drove better than an NSX. I've never driven an NSX, so I can't comment on that. But that being said, this car with the wider wheels and stuff isn't the best handling in the canyons. Like compared to my STI, it felt like, you know, that car felt like it was on rails. I like to, you know, think of this as a PCH cruiser. In the canyons, I didn't really want to push it too hard just because, you know, I don't, you know what can happen up there. So it's not up there, but you know, it for a 90s car, I think it's pretty good. If you want to drive it aggressive, you want to be focused, you want to be looking around. I think just manual cars in general, you're using both hands, you're using both feet. You know, it requires you to be engaged. You know, nowadays, everything's automatic. People are distracted while they're driving, texting, whatever it is, where this car and all manual cars, really, you're kind of forced to, you know, be focused. But that being said, it is pretty wide and pretty big, so you always want to be aware of, you know, the cars around you. And, you know, you're always kind of nervous driving on the freeway. You know, it's one of those things where it's like I'm always at least, you know, checking my mirrors and whatnot, making sure the cars around me. Because the last thing I want to do is, you know, get hit. I mean, like I said, with the other cars, the newer stuff I've driven, it seems like they're trying to hide the driving experience, whether that be the steering feel, the engine noise. You know, even new cars have that pumped in fake audio, which I just hate. This car, you feel the road a lot more, you hear a lot more of the road. The steering feel, it's all hydraulic, so you get that good feedback. You hear the engine, especially when you're, you know, above 4,000 RPM, you can hear it really just winding out, the turbo spooling. You know, this compared to newer cars, it's very visceral. You know, you hear everything working, but you know, that's part of it. That's, you know, in the 90s, they put so much R&D into the drivetrain, the body, you know, the dash, you know, whatever it is. They really cared about this car when they were designing it, and that they really wanted to be something special. So like every Saturday, I'm at South OC Cars and Coffee. I do love that show because there's such a wide variety of cars. I am biased towards JDM cars, but I do love all cars. You know, I'm not like particular about, you know, oh, these cars are better than that. Like, if you enjoy your car, get out, drive it. You know, it is what it is. But I think South OC, you know, you got your hyper cars, super cars, 90s JDM cars, new JDM, like anything you can think of. And then I also like going to Breckie. Breckie's like, you know, they always, you know, their whole thing is supporting local business, which I like. You know, their meat's never in the same place, so you always get that kind of difference. With the Cars and Coffee and Breckie and stuff like that, it just feels a lot more relaxed. It's, you know, it's less organized, but I think that's a benefit. I think Instagram, like, you get out of it kind of what you want to. I went into it just like mainly just trying to connect with people and share my cars with other people that, you know, want to see my Supra or my ISF or my Subaru, whatever it was. I think it has really helped me connect with like other like-minded people. You know, there are those people out there that, like, you know, kind of bring the community down, but I just, you know, I just look past them. I don't, you know, I think it's definitely been a lot more of a help than like a, you know, a deduction or a negative. I'm always willing to help out, like if someone has questions or whatnot. If I don't know the answer, I'll try to direct you to someone that does. I would never sell it because to me, like, this is like the perfect car, the Supra that I would want. If you're that car enthusiast that, you know, you're always looking at that next car, you don't have like a cool car per se, like always, you know, use that as your goal, you know, work towards it. Something else, like I said, when I look for cars, be patient. do your research. Like I said, this is like a 2-year search for this car to make sure I wanted to find one that, you know, that was like really nice. Search all the websites, always work towards that next thing, you know. So like I said, I wouldn't sell it for another Supra, but if someone like came along and was like, I'll trade you an R34 GTR right now, I'd be like, I love you, but you know, I'll trade you. Like, you know, I think that pinnacle car for me is like a Lexus LFA. Don't rush into it. Like if you want a car and you're looking for that one, don't settle for anything other than that, because eventually it'll come along. Whatever it is, if you're passionate about cars, don't let other people like try to talk you down from that. And even if you don't have a cool car, like if you're a car enthusiast, you're a car enthusiast, it doesn't matter.
This is Gerbilinda Elite Auto Detailing. They provide best-in-class, full-service interior and exterior detailing, as well as paint protection film to protect your car from rocks and road debris, as well as ceramic coating to protect your car's paint for up to 5 years. Gerbilinda Elite Auto Detailing has been in business for many years and has helped car owners revive their rides. Be sure to schedule an appointment today at www.gerbilindaeliteautodetailing.com.